Update about the 3 days of darkness, and a little bit of a follow-up about people who have the gift of prophecy, the people who have been the Lord has been speaking to and pouring into over the course of these many years. There's another gentleman who has a gift of prophecy, and the Lord speaks to him through dreams about the end times. His channel name is Mike Triple Four. I have to put that in the description. So he's been sharing short videos about the 3 days of darkness, about the end of the age, kind of warning people about repentance, etc., etc. He just posted a video, including a little clip from a prophet from, I don't know, he's Spanish anyway. He's got a Spanish accent, and he was talking about the 3 days of darkness and how it would unfold. Now, a lot of us have been given the message about 3 days of darkness, but never been given kind of how it might come to be. So it sounds kind of like far-fetched, but if you look at how prophecy unfolds, you hear the prophecy. It sounds unbelievable, but then it unfolds in a way that you can understand. First of all, it's logic. It comes together in a logical way. So it could be through disaster, through sickness, or whatever else. But when the prophecy is told, it sounds unreal, right? So if anyone would have told you about COVID years ago, you would have been like, "What are you talking about?" But when it happened, the way that it happened, it was like you could see it unfold before your eyes, so it was a believable. So the thing with prophecy is you have to first of all be into the word, understand that prophecy a lot of times is going to be unbelievable when you come to across the information. Now, what my stance is on this is I'm going to post Mike's video under this video, this live, when it's posted. And what I'm going to be doing later on is I'm going to be telling you about when I lost everything, how the Lord was providing for me. Because I do believe when the Lord says that He's going to use my life as an example, I think that's what He means. I won't tell you all about it now. I think it's important for you to. I'm not too sure. Maybe I should tell you some now, because whenever I say I'm going to announce a video, it doesn't happen. Okay, so when I lost everything, and I mean everything, my mother allowed the police to throw me out of her home. She told me she doesn't want me here anymore. She threw me out of my home without shoes on my feet. Okay, and this is all because I'm not too sure exactly what there is to gain from the cruelty I had to endure, but that was part of it. Um, okay, so I had basically the clothes on my back. I had a bag with clothes that I could wear, and I had this channel. I don't know if it was this, yeah, it was this channel. And at that time, it was monetized because I didn't know why the Lord was leading me to make a channel. I didn't understand it. I just never really was about being someone who, I didn't feel like I know I have a lot of opinions, I have a lot to say, I have a lot of like life experiences, but I never thought to make a channel. So the Lord kept on leading me to make a channel, and it was strong. I kept getting like this message to do this channel. So I said, okay. I thought it was about just my life. People vlog about things that they do. And so I started vlogging and doing all kinds of things. And then the Lord started to have me encounter people who were into magic and witchcraft. And during my journey, with the clothes on my back and the little I was making from the channel, I think at that time I was making about $100 a month at that time. And I think the Lord at that time led me to monetize. I was wondering, should I monetize or not monetize? By that time, there was no question because I didn't know the gift and the calling on my life. So I did monetize it, and every month I would get a little bit from the channel. And so I would use that to I'd buy, if I could buy something, I would buy things on clearance, so like vegetables. I was led to not eat meat, so I'd buy vegetables. I'd have staple things were lighters, sanitary things, so toothpaste, toothbrush, soap, and a towel. Those towels you use that you can actually squeeze them and they're almost completely dry once you use them. Those kind of towels is what I had, because they were easy to use and then squeeze and dry out a little bit and pack away. And so this is how I was living. I had no real place to stay. A lot of people knew what I was going through, and no one like said, let me help her, right? It was over the course of, this was going on for years. This went on for years. It was over the course of, I don't know, maybe, I can't remember how long it was, but it was a while. I think I saw two Christmases, doing this. Um, when it was time for me to, let's say, have a, like, my monthly, I had to learn how to figure out how to make my own sanitary napkins to eat. If it was warm in summertime, the trees, I ate from what was provided. The Lord provided, because I remember the scripture, the Lord provided for the birds. Then what makes you say that He can't provide for you? So that was my thinking. And my parents always had trees in their backyard, and the area that I was in had a natural path, like an area where it's preserved. They can't do anything to it, and a lot of old trees there, a lot of old vines that grow grapes and stuff. So I used to collect these things and keep them with me and eat them throughout the day, or just fast. I would fast throughout the day and have one like hard meal at about 6. So it'd be like a lot of like apples and such. If I was able to come across like a crackers or whatever else, and then I would not eat, because if I ate too close to sleeping, then I'd have to find somewhere to go to the washroom, and that's a pain in the behind. So there's something to be said about, not people say not to eat before bed. Yeah, there's something to be said about that. Your body does work at night. It's supposed to be, if you're eating, if your body is supposed to be repairing and detoxing at night. You're not supposed to be breaking down food. Okay, so part of my, before I knew that, and it makes sense, but before I really was solid in my mind, I didn't eat at night close to sleeping because I didn't want to have to go find somewhere to have to go to the washroom. Over the course of this time, I became very thin, but I was still very strong. I was still able to climb trees to get the apples I would eat, and I'm talking about every kind of apple: crab apples, gala apples. Like there's these apple trees are going wild, like on my course of my walking, and sometimes if I'm walking, like neighbors or people in the area would become familiar with me, and they would offer, like they could say that I could pick off their tree, and I'd always have a bag to collect as much as I could carry. And then I would have that over the course of a couple days, because apples don't go bad if they're not refrigerated. In relations to my dental, I had a toothbrush, toothpaste, but I also learned about cloves. Cloves helps with everything. Tea tree oil and olive oregano are also very good, but those are costly. Um, Cloves are very cheap. You could get a bag full of them from a South Asian store for, like, I don't know, for nothing much. And I used to use that for, like, as I say, I had like something in my mouth, like a sore in my mouth or a toothache or something. I would just chew that, or if I felt I didn't feel that well and I needed to detox, I would chew maybe like 3 or 4 cloves and swallow. That's that. Um, Occasionally, the Lord would lead someone to meet with me. I would be in a situation, maybe praying or reading the Word or exercising. I continue to do that. Like I'd find a park and lay my scarf out, and I would exercise, and then knowing fully well, like shortly after that, I'd be going to wash up. Occasionally, the Lord would send someone, either once it was a pastor, another time it was just a stranger, and they would say, the Lord led me to give you this, and I'd get like $50 or $20, or there's a time when I was really feeling like I was so like hungry, and I think it was fall, so the trees didn't have much, and I was thinking, I'm gonna go, and something was leading me to go this walk, just walk across the street. So I did, and I found $10 in the water. Like, it was our dollars are plastic, so they don't Even if they were paper, if they got wet, they could be easily dry. But these are plastics, and it was sitting in the water like bent in half, so it was flailing in the wind like a flag. And so at that point, I realized that God would take care of whatever situation you're in. If you believe in Him, He'll provide for you. Now, I always say this. I've been saying this for a while. Our idea of need and the Lord's idea of need are very different. Because in retrospect, I'm looking back. He provided all my needs. There's nothing that I was lacking. I was able to shower. I was able to even not shower. I was able to soap up and wash off. I was able to brush my teeth. I was able to um, take care of my monthly. I was able to, um, he does, amen. I was able to, what else? Oh, my hair. So now if you can see my hair is very coily. So I would say 4C. And so if I knew differently then, I was still in the mind frame of that we people of color, a lot of us used to like to straighten our hair or keep it straight, and we'd pull it tight. But if you think about the coil in a pen, when you pull it, it changes the integrity of the curl, and it really wants to go back into the shape that it is. And imagine it's made out of wire. Now, if you do that same thing to my hair, it has a tendency, if it's not moist, to break. So as much as I was away from my girls and my family, from everybody that I know and love for a long time, they envisioned my hair would be like down to my ankles because I was like not doing much. I wasn't going anywhere, so I hadn't have time to touch it much. But when you wash my hair, it without proper moisture, it breaks. And instead of leaving it alone, I felt self-conscious. Like, I do believe, if I think back, and I used to try and put it back in a bun so that it would look presentable. Because my idea was that if you are a child of the Most High, no matter what the situation is, you don't have to look like your situation. And I'm a living testimony of that. So I was always clean. My clothes were always clean. Mind you, the warfare continued. So the Lord lead me to like secondhand stores. I do not knock, and I commend people who have secondhand stores. I commend Value Village, Talise, what else is another one? Salvation Army. I don't knock it. I'm about it. I give to them and I buy from them. Okay. That being said, though, you need to wash your stuff because energy is a thing, and spirits are a thing. And I believe that a lot of times you can find things new. There's no problem with that. I believe if you're wise with the money that God gives you, you're good to go. So the little that I got, I used to like. I mean, imagine all the walking I was doing. I used to run out of shoes. My soles were like, and I was an athlete, so I used to walk. Sometimes I'd have to walk quickly to get to shelter because of rain or whatever else. So my soles of my shoes were an issue. So I can definitely tell you which shoes will last you a long time. So anyway, to have to go to secondhand stores and see if I could find shoes that were either new or fairly new that would last, and that weren't too like I was trying to present as though I wasn't my situation. So unless you knew me or you were following me, which I was being followed and I was gaslighted a lot, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. You just know like this lady's always here. She has her bag with her. I still did my videos. I still did my read my words. So I always have my Bible with me as well. But why reason why I'm telling you this is because, and I may, if I have a chance to do another video and much more concrete, maybe I'll just do a video, not a live. Hopefully we'll upload where I can to tell you the story of how this was done with picture. Because when I was going through this, I had a chance to really spend a lot of time with the Lord, you must know. Because as much as this was going on, my family was aware. They were hoping that I was going to fall apart, and it never happened. And thus, the situation where I was keeping contact with my girls by email, and my eldest was, I guess, somehow coerced or convinced to lure me into the hospital because I lost so much weight. She said, you should go to the hospital, make sure they're just going to check you to see if you're okay. And I'm like, sure, okay. So when I went in there, that's when the whole kerfuffle where they had locked me up in there. I didn't go. Didn't take me. I walked in there under the guise that they were gonna just make sure that I was okay physically. But I didn't know they had made this false affidavit saying that I was a part of a cult and that I this and that. All of it was false. And it broke my heart for real. Because when I asked them for the paperwork about what they had said, they freely gave it to me. It was so long. And I don't know what the consequence for that, if there could be. Because I mean, at this stage, I'm thinking this is like at a government level. Anyway, the point is, that's a little bit of a side. The point of this is that I want you guys to understand that the Lord will provide for us. And we have to stop thinking the idea that providing for us or provision is like a car, a house, a truck, a job, or whatever else. The Lord will provide for you under any circumstance. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Thank you. It's okay. You know what? It made me stronger. The whole thing that I went through it made me stronger. It helped me to know who my enemies are and what that could look like. It helped me to really, because remember, I don't think I was raised. I was provided for, but raising a child means instilling values and morals in them, and I never had that. Um, my parents were almost about everything that was that decisions were made were always about like money. You know, as long as you're making money, as long as he's making money, it's okay. It doesn't matter what the integrity of character, if he's a jerk, if he beats you, as long as he provides for you. I don't know what kind of theory or kind of logic that is, but that's what I was told. Anyway, the Lord has recently been showing me. I thought my flaws, my last bit of my flaws were, so the flaws I had were, I had definitely had a, I was fighting the spirit of lust for sure. It's all around us. I don't know anyone who's not, if you're in the world. The music's playing it, it's on the TV, it's everywhere. So I definitely, it's not hard to succumb to the spirit. But if once the Holy Spirit deals with you, um, believe me, that's not an issue for me right now. Believe me when I tell you that. But my issue, and I had an issue with food. I had an issue, and I think if you have an eating disorder, which I did have, it's about controlling things you can control. So at that time, there's not much in my life I could control. I didn't have a voice in my home. I was always told what I had to do. So the things I could control, I would control. And that was part, and I played basketball, and our coach was very much about us being healthy and being fit. I don't think he cared how we became that way, but as long as we were. So that's how a couple of us developed eating disorders on our team. What else did I overcome? I overcame a lot of sicknesses. I had it, and I was anemic. That my 40-day fast that went away. During my course of my journey with the Lord, I've overcome a lot of things. But I thought I was done with the refining that he was doing, and a lot of us who are the chosen can speak to this refining and process that we have to go through. Now, this last bit of my journey has been about my character. The fine-tuning of this journey has been about my character and loving myself. I've allowed a lot of people to do things to me and say things to me, and I didn't even know really at one point how to respond to it. I've met a lot of cruel people during my journey in my life. And because I was definitely not raised, but just taken care of, I was provided for. And I'm grateful. I had a shelter. I had clothes on my back. I had food to eat. But the values and the morals that you think that you would have being raised by parents who were together, because they were together for a bit, I didn't have that. So I let a lot of people like use me. I have a lot of gifts, a lot of things I can do. I'm very generous. Like when you're in a situation when you're growing up and you're abused, and I was abused as well. My dad was very aggressive. My mom was aggressive as well. Some people have a tendency to say it happened to me, I'm going to do it to other people. And there's other people who, like me, who said I wouldn't want anyone to go through what I went through. So they spend their time trying to heal others. Now, I realize now that I didn't break anybody out there, so it's not my job to fix people. And I'm not going to let broken people try and break me. And that's kind of the stage in my life that I'm at. I do believe I shared enough of my journey lately that for you guys to understand what I'm talking about. I had been working with a company, and the person who had this company basically had me working and didn't want to pay me. but still wanted to monopolize my time, said a lot of derogatory things to me, a lot of things about me that weren't true. Uh, Really heartbreaking because I poured a lot of things, a lot of myself into this situation, and I realize now the Lord's trying to show me that I need to start thinking about me, and it's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's not selfish to say no. It's not, even as a Christian. It's not selfish to say no. It's not ungodly to set boundaries. That way you can identify who the enemy might be using, right? The Bible says you should love our enemies, but the Bible also says that we should come out from among them. So if you have people in your life who are practicing witchcraft, and witchcraft doesn't necessarily mean magic. Witchcraft can be lying, it could be stealing, it can be slander. All those things, anything that changes other people's perspective about what's real and the reality of life is witchcraft. And it's an abomination. So, I'm learning how to set boundaries for myself, and younger, tender, younger years of my life, I'm finally learning how to tell people no, how to set boundaries for myself, how to engage people and give them a chance to kind of prove themselves or show themselves. But once I know what they are, then to learn how to be okay with walking away. And walking away is never easy. I've learned that even with the knowledge I have now, even if the person is cruel and unkind, the hope you have for a friendship or a relationship with a person, it's almost like a death. It's still, you still mourn the loss of the possibilities, and then you move on. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm learning how to really truly enjoy my time alone with the Lord again, because I've had that time already. I know what it's like. I'm learning how to forgive the unforgivable and to walk away. Um, Yesterday, I had to decide whether or not I was going to give keys back because I hadn't gotten paid. Um, the potential for me to get paid still is still there, but you know what? I can't. I'm not banking on that. I don't have a lot of faith in people, if you can tell. I think there's a lot of cruelty in the world. I think people are so enamored with things, cars, trips, money, with Hollywood, that they lost sight of what's really truly important, and that this all is a test. It's such a short life. I can't believe that I'm considered to be a senior right now in my life, and it happened so fast. I feel like I was just in high school. I feel like I just graduated from university. You know, like there's so many things I just feel like I just did. And now I'm talking, now I go into stores, I can get a discount just because of my age. I think that's incredible. Anyway, I just thought I just wanted to reassure you that when they come around, there's going to be a time when you're going to have to choose whether you should take the mark of the beast or not. The Lord's word is true. He said he'll provide all your needs according to his riches and glory. His word is true. That's all I can say. His word is him. The beginning was the word, and the word was with God. The word was God. The word became flesh, and it dwelt among us. The Lord is real. I can't tell you how real he is for me. And I think when you are interacting with people and they're not, they say they're Christian, but they're not walking with the Lord, that it's sometimes you can lose sight of what's real. And what's real for me is what you really can't see. God, he's real for me. He provided my needs in a time where everyone abandoned me. And I didn't feel sad. I actually felt comfort. I felt warmth. And every time someone did something for me or I came across something that would serve a need, I praised him because it was so miraculous. It was just amazing. So I think we're embarking on a time where God's going to really show up and show out. I don't want anyone that could experience a miracle or miracles and see this work of the Lord. I don't want anyone to miss it. I don't want anyone to be convinced that taking the mark of the beast is going to be the answer to our prayers. It's not. And I'll tell you a little bit of a story before I go. When I lost everything, I went to a abused woman's shelter with my two little ones because the children's father, his father, he was abusive. And I didn't want anything from him. I just wanted us to go with his life, but he wouldn't allow that. He wouldn't leave us alone. When we were there together, he was definitely not around. But as soon as I said, you know what, I'm gonna live my life with the kids and live your life, he had was on a mission. It seemed as though. So I went to this women's shelter, and they gave me a timeline to make a choice to pick some kind of government housing, and I know that's not what I'm owed. I know that I didn't even get like a severance pay from the government when I worked for the board, so I know that there's something's not right, because I did a great job at the board. So something on the government level is not right here. But anyway, the point is that I was not going to choose to work to live in a government anything, because I know, first of all, the government, I was marked, and the government would not take care of me. Um, a lot of things that I'm owed, I didn't get. So this is what happened when the timeline came when I was supposed to leave the shelter. I didn't pick a place to go, and they called um, a worker from Children's Aid, and I can't remember who else. I think it was an officer, and they were saying that I had to choose something, and I said no, I'm not choosing. They sat with me and my children from 8 o'clock in the morning to about 11:30 at night. This is how long they sat and interrogated me and tried to force me to pick, make a choice. If it was such that they could just say get out, they would have just thrown me out. So the reason I'm telling you the story is okay, and then okay, at that point they gave me the alternative that the same father that was abusive to the children, that he was willing to take them and take care of them. And I knew that this was not good, because when they were there, he was like, I basically protected the children from even knowing what he was like. I allowed him to take the car, I allowed him to go on dates with whoever he wanted to, just to leave us alone. So I knew this was a setup. Anyway, I agreed to it, and because I felt my children were suffering. Like, we were there all day without food, without anything. We saw morning and we saw nightfall, and they were interrogating us, sitting there trying to force me to make a decision. And they were using all different kind of tactics, threatening me, all kinds of things. You need to do this, your children this, your children that. Anyway, the point is that when they come around, and I think this is how they're going to do it, I'm not sure. The Lord hasn't revealed completely how this is going to go down. But they're going to interrogate you. They're going to sit down with you and say sweet nothings. Make it seem as though they care about you. They're gonna make it seem as though they're gonna take care of it. They're gonna pay all your bills. You don't have to have a mortgage. You're not gonna have any kind of problems. You just take this mark, and it's gonna be a credit system where you just live, and we'll take care of you. Now, if you know anything about China and how things are there, I do believe it's some kind of credit system, and they're very disciplined, very smart um, culture of people. But there are a few people who have stepped out of line in their regard and spoke against what they felt was happening there and how unfair it was. And there's video clips, and I made a video about it, but coincidentally, the phone that I was using somehow got a virus and was destroyed before I had a chance to upload it. So I had taken clips from different things I've seen, I came across, and put it together so that you could see what they do in China with people who step out of line. So basically, there was a person, I guess he must have made a YouTube video, a doctor during COVID. And basically, everything's monitored. There's cameras everywhere. So they knew where he was. And like, I think about 7 or 8 officers went, scooped him up, and they never saw him again. Oh, someone's asking, am I close to my daughters now? I am so close to my daughters now. The problem, I'm close to them now, but it's different because not only did I have a time, a period by myself, but they had to raise themselves. The two youngest ones at they were just embarking on. They were like, how old were they? 10 or something like that. So they were just embarking on the time where children become women. Their bodies were changing. They had all this growth spurt. They started to get their monthlies without me there. So all the things that, like, as a person, I love people. Imagine how much I must love my girls. At a time in their life where I would have wanted to be there to show them how to buy a bra, how to pick a size for your bra, how to, what kind of pads to wear, not to wear anything that goes inside, because the Lord led me to understand that you shouldn't put anything in there with all that stuff. They did it on their own. And I can't be upset with their father, because a lot of that he's been given was he and I should never have been in a situation together. He was supposed to be someone I helped, and I was supposed to move on. Because of the way I was raised and the way I didn't have boundaries for myself, I let him take over my life. And he's younger than me. He's a bit younger than me. So anyway, the point is that when we got back together and we were able to interact with each other, first of all, they're so much more mature than their age. It's insane how mature they are. A lot of things that they do now, it's hard for me to tell them they can or cannot, because they've had the opportunity to kind of figure things out on their own. So it's like, who am I really? Even though I did raise them, like I did raise them to a certain degree, so they know me, et cetera, et cetera. But being 10 and having your mom not there, and they made it a point to make sure I never saw them. They didn't even know what happened to me until I had a chance to tell my version of the story. Um, so imagine how traumatic it is. They said they did. We talked about it, and they said they did a lot of crying. They were very sad at a point. I think they developed a lot of tendencies because of what happened to them. It was very traumatic for them. I keep telling them that they're a special group of young ladies, that God is not as they didn't deserve what they went through. And the Lord knew the Lord foreknew them and knew they would go through this, and they knew where they were being emotionally and physically prepared for what is to come. And that's what I believe. I believe our God is loving, He's not cruel. And I believe sometimes we have to go through adversities and painful situations to prepare us emotionally, physically, spiritually for what is to come. And that's why I always say you are a very special generation. You've gone through a lot of hardships, a lot of adversity, a lot of wickedness, a lot of spiritual warfare, more than probably any generation before you. Why? Because you're going to be embarking on a time where you're going to have to endure a lot. And for those people who are kind of acting like it's not that way, the Lord said He would send strong delusion. To reassure you that God is real. He'll provide our needs. When He says He'll provide our needs according to His riches and glory, I know it just sounds like just words. I mean, He will. He made it very clear we're going to be very thin. That's okay. I was so thin, to the point where I saw people that I knew, like, during my journey, they were looking at me like didn't even want to look at me. I was so thin. But that being said, I was so healthy, like I said. And again, our idea of provision and the Lord's the idea of provision, especially during the times that are to come, are going to be very different. So don't worry. All right. I will look through all the oh, you know what? I'm going to tell them. Yes, I tell them that they're being prepared. And my second oldest has a lot of prophetic dreams about the end time. She had it almost all her life, so I know. And the enemy's been fighting her. Oh my God. Her grandfather was a pastor. So yeah, there's been a lot going on. I can share a lot about my girls in another video, but I won't make this one too long. It's already been more than 30 minutes. So I'm gonna let you go. And I love you. I appreciate again the support you guys have been giving me. It's reassured me that I'm gonna be good. And I thank you all. I'm praying with all of you who've asked me to pray and come into agreement with you in relations to sickness and relations to your family members as well. I think a lot of us are praying for our family members, because a lot of us, it's not like a whole family's been chosen. Sometimes, usually, it's just a person in the family that's been chosen, So, hi, all black sheep out there. Anyway, I love you all so very much. Remember, you're made marvelously, specific generation chosen for this time. All right, until next time, be blessed.